This story is called The Runaway Dreidel, and it was written by Leslie Newman and illustrated by Kristen Brooker. The Runaway Dreidel. Oh, here's somebody making latkes. I think it's the grandpa. 'Twas the first night of Hanukkah, and on the 5th floor there was holiday hustling and bustling galore. Grandpapa was shining the silver menorah. Mama was wrapping a gift for Aunt Dora. Grandma was slicing up 2 chocolate bakas, and Grandpa was grating potatoes for latkes. Sister was stirring the soup with the ladle, and I at her feet spun my shiny new dreidel. Each letter flew by. Nun, gummed, hey, shin. It was making me dizzy to see them all spin. So I reached out my fingers to grab my new top, but that silly old dreidel just wouldn't stop. It spun round the kitchen and straight down the hall. It spun down the carpet and right up the wall. It spun through the bathroom right over the sink. It spun through the living room quick as a wink. It spun towards the front door, which flew open wide as uncles and cousins and aunts poured inside. "Runaway dreidel," I cried to squeeze past, but it was no use, for that toy was too fast. It spun down the 4th floor past Mrs. Gray's wreath. It spun down the 3rd floor past Otto's sharp teeth. It spun down the 2nd floor past my friend Pete. It spun down the 1st floor and onto the street. My family and neighbors all took up the chase, but they were no match for that dreidel's swift pace. It spun past the bakery right by the challah. The bakery was selling cheap, 2 for $1. It spun past the grocer who gave us a treat. It kept up our strength as we raced down the street. It spun past the shoe store and past a boutique. It spun past 2 delis, one kosher, one Greek. It spun over a taxi and under a truck. A cop tried to stop it, but she had no luck. It spun out of the city and down the road, out into the country. It never once slowed. It spun past a barn, a horse, and a cow. We kept up the chase. We couldn't stop now. It spun through a forest past hundreds of trees. It just wouldn't stop even though I said please. It spun through a valley, an inch out of reach. It spun through a clearing, then onto a beach. I ran after my dreidel, my feet in the sand. In a minute, my toy would be safe in my hand. But that dreidel just kept up its dizzying motion. It spun through the air right over the ocean. And then in a wink and a blink of an eye, my dreidel had spun itself up to the sky. It spun past the planets. It spun past the stars. At last it stopped spinning a stone throw from Mars. It sparkled and glittered, it twinkled and shone like a jewel in the crown of a queen on a throne. We stared at my dreidel, our jaws all gone slack, until Mama said it was time to turn back. At home we ate latkes and lit the menorah, and then just for fun we all danced the hora. We opened our presents and ate chocolate gilt. It was then that we noticed how tired we felt. My uncles and cousins and aunts turned to go, so we walked them outside to the street down below. Where we said, standing under a star shining bright, Happy Hanukkah to all, and to all a good night. And that was the Runaway Dreidel.